good evening. Thank you for joining us on the news at 7 on NT International. And we're live in Abuja, and I'm Ruth Aguela. Let's bring you the headlines. More cases of COVID-19 still on the rise. Nigeria records forced death, even as governments at various levels take stringent steps to stem the spread. United Nations to release $2 million to procure urgent health facilities to end COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria. Crucial Monetary Policy Committee meeting begins as coronavirus pandemic ravages economies globally. And federal government intensifies efforts for the takeoff of multi-billion naira agro-processing zones. The federal government has suspended the Federal Executive Council meeting indefinitely. A statement by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 says it has also postponed cancel of state meeting and closed all land borders. All public servants below level 12 will be stopped from work for the time being. It shall also enforce social distancing policy, especially on gatherings above 50 persons. And the Independent National Electoral Commission, with effect from Tuesday, 24th March 2020, suspends all regular and non-essential activities in its headquarters and offices nationwide for 14 days in the first instance. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, says the regular quarterly meetings with stakeholders have also been suspended until such a time when normalcy returns. In addition, the Commission will no longer monitor the conventions, congresses, conferences or meetings of political parties until further notice. However, the new measures taken do not affect the activities for Edo and Ondo States governorship elections scheduled for 19th September and 10th October 2020. And still on the COVID-19, the federal government has advised Nigerians to adhere to the social distance order, just as the government will continue to use all available media platforms to update and educate Nigerians on the development of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehanire, stated this while giving update on the pandemic in Abuja.
As of today, the 23rd of March 2020, 36 cases have been confirmed in Nigeria. 2 have been discharged after successful treatment, and 1 death has been recorded from COVID-19 in Nigeria. Of the presently 33 active cases, 32 are clinically stable with mild symptoms only, and 1 patient is dependent on oxygen. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control is working closely with state governments of all affected states in Nigeria to carry out intensive contact tracing. Through intensified contact tracing, we have been able to promptly detect many cases. I strongly urge all health facilities to be on high alert from the state, local government, law enforcement authorities, and community leaders, and private hospitals to fully cooperate and to be able to inform the NCDC through the dedicated number of any case of someone who has fallen ill and has recently been out of the country the last 14 days, or has been a close contact of someone who has been out of the country. Following declaration of a pandemic by the World Health Organization and the increasing spread of COVID-19, the federal government of Nigeria, through the Presidential Task Force on Control of COVID-19, has employed diverse strategies to interrupt and halt the spread of the disease. To this end, a ban was placed on all international flights effective from today, the 23rd of March 2020, with the exception of emergency and essential flights. These were not easy decisions to make, but have become necessary in view of the changing development in our country as we witness more and more confirmed cases coming from outside the country. More measures may be instituted by the federal and state governments in coming days as the situation will demand.
In another development, the federal government says it will not hesitate in going the extra length to ensure that individuals and groups comply with its directives in containing the spread of COVID-19. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing in Abuja. Let's hear from Anthony Forson.
In a setting far from what was the tradition at media briefings like this, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed explained that the setting is in compliance with the social spacing directives of the federal government. And making his point, he frowned at a position that has been taken by some religious and political leaders, saying that at this stage of Nigeria's effort in containing the spread of the virus, government needs the cooperation of all Nigerians. He stressed that all those who have come in contact with anyone who has tested positive to submit themselves for proper check.
For those who will not cooperate by submitting to the authorities as required, the government will use all lawful means at its disposal to trace and bring them in. The biggest assignment for us is contact tracing, to find all those who may have come into contact with those who have the disease.
The minister, however, dismissed the notion that the disease cannot affect Africans, explaining that no one is immune to the virus, citing New York as having 54% of its infected patients within the ages of 18 and 49. While Nigeria, the minister said, has refused to succumb to panic in tackling the disease, a number of steps have been taken, including travel restrictions on 15 countries with more than 1,000 cases of COVID-19, suspension of issuance of visas on arrival, cancellation of visas issued to nationals of affected countries, shutdown of its international airports, reduction of fuel price, credit of 1 trillion naira as announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria, among others. On fake news, the minister called for caution.
An audio recording that is being circulated on the social media, especially on WhatsApp, has made some bogus claims, including that Nigeria is seeking to buy used protective gears from China, waiting for money from the World Health Organization before doing anything. That Nigeria has no funds to tackle the disease because the foreign reserves have been exhausted and funds stolen. That Nigeria is understating the figures of those infected, etc. This is a most irresponsible, inaccurate, and definitely orchestrated job by a charlatan and should be discarded by all Nigerians.
With Nigeria recording its first death as a result of COVID-19, Lai Mohammed assured that the federal government is committed to containing the spread of the disease as it is on top of the situation. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
In the meantime, Bauchi State Governor Senator Bala Mohammed has gone on self-isolation alongside his entourage pending the outcome of clinical results. Now, this follows report from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, also that a son of former Nigeria's Vice President Mohammed Atiku Abubakar, who tested positive to coronavirus upon his return from international trip through Lagos. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant of Media to Governor Bala, Mukhtar Gidado, says the governor was on official trip in Lagos and met with Mohammed Atiku Abubakar in the same aircraft, shook hands and exchanged pleasantries with him. The statement says the governor has not exhibited any symptoms, but based on the recommendation of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, he remains in isolation to avoid the risk of spread. And in Edo State, the Governor Godwin Obaseki is heading the technical committee on COVID-19. This was after the state government confirmed the first case of coronavirus pandemic. Godwin Enahire reports.
Governor Obaseki, while reeling out state government's plans to curb the spread of the virus, emphasized the importance of social distancing policy and the cooperation of members of the public through total compliance to the stay-at-home directive.
Coronavirus is not a death sentence, so there is no need to panic. With swift identification and proper management and care, Many persons who have been infected with the virus have made full recoveries. If we all work together and take the right precautions, it is possible to cope with this virus.
He urged the public to alert the COVID-19 Action Plan Committee of any suspected case. In an interview, the Chief Medical Director, Irwa Specialist Teaching Hospital, Professor Silvanus Okogbeni, confirmed first confirmed case in Edo State.
Again, CDC said that, and it's correct. And diagnosis has been made. And like I said with the governor just now, it's already been isolated and receiving treatment, and we do expect him to get better.
Meanwhile, at another press briefing, the Nigerian Medical Association Edo State chapter is urging government at all levels to provide adequate protective kits for health workers who manage patients with the virus. In Benin, Goodluck Inaini, NT News.
And still on curtailing the spread of COVID-19, Nigeria's fight against the deadly coronavirus is set to take a more strategic dimension as the United Nations says it will release the sum of $2 million to procure urgent health facilities to end the scourge of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. This is part of the thrust of a meeting between the United Nations and stakeholders constituted by the federal government for COVID-19 in Abuja. Let's hear from Sheyi Adeagbo.
China, the country where the deadly virus first emerged, is now ahead of the world in the fight against the disease. Health partners in Nigeria are stemming the tide in changing the narrative of the increasing number of cases, the deadly COVID-19. This explains why the UN House in Abuja is hosting the Minister of Health, Dr. Ozagi Ehanure, and other national leadership for COVID-19, which include the NCDC and the Presidential Task Force for COVID-19. The whole idea is to close ranks on preparation, response to cases, prevention, and control. Top of the agenda was having a holistic approach with a national framework in coordination of the entire process. The national leadership for COVID-19 also gave submissions on areas of intervention needed.
We have some response challenges. Currently, there is massive anxiety and misinformation across Nigeria, even the world. There's limited capacity in treatment centers across our country.
We see the multitude and also the extent of the problems that we face. And we are very pleased to have this partnership, this declaration of support, and the offers that have come here.
The United Nations team also explained in details how its technical team will be engaging relevant bodies in ensuring efficiency in the actualization of the initiative.
We are still trying to have an in-house strategy in place on our offer. And after this meeting today, I am going to then inform the ambassadors in Nigeria of our UN offer and also on how we can work together with them. Some of them are already supporting your effort in various forms.
At the end of the meeting, both parties seemed impressed with the outcomes while advocating private sector's involvement in the fight against coronavirus pandemic. In Abuja, Olusheye Adeagbo, NTA News.
On the global scene, confirmed cases of COVID-19 are still on the increase and exceeds 400,000 as the African continent records close to 1,400 confirmed cases of the virus. Joyce Ometu brings us up to speed on prevention and containment measures imposed by different countries across the globe in an attempt to curtail the spread of coronavirus.
As more countries confirm the outbreak of COVID-19, African countries have continued to react with stringent restrictions, from flight ban to school closure and complete lockdown. Reports from Botswana says the country's president, Eric Masisi, has started a 14-day self-isolation coming after his trip to Namibia. The president will work from home over the period. Members of the president's entourage have also been advised to undertake self-isolation. Namibia has 3 confirmed cases, but Botswana has no case, just as South Africa tally hits more than 400. Meanwhile, Kenya has announced suspension of all international flights with effect from midnight Wednesday. Rwanda ordered a general lockdown, and the Democratic Republic of Congo's second-largest city, Lubumbashi, is also in lockdown, while cases in Ghana rise to 24. And reports coming from Burkina Faso says United States ambassador to the country has tested positive for COVID-19. Let's shift our attention to other parts of the world. In the United States, the war against COVID-19 has intensified as more states issue stay-at-home orders. Across the United Kingdom, thousands of fast food restaurants are set to close, and retailers have also been hit. In the Middle East, the United Arab Emirates has suspended all passenger and transit flights for 2 weeks, as the world's busiest airport, Dubai International, will effectively shut down from March 25. While Saudi Arabia has imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew to curb the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Now to Europe, which is currently at the center of the pandemic. The region has also struggled to enforce tight new restrictions. Italy has moved to stop all domestic travel as the country reports 651 new deaths, bringing the total there to 5,476. Italians are also now banned from leaving their own town to travel within the country. Now let's turn to Asia. In a press conference on Monday, the Hong Kong's leader Carrie Lam said that all foreigners would be banned for the next 14 days. She also added that the government would look at changing the law to enable authorities to ban bars and restaurants from selling alcohol. And that's a global update on COVID-19. Thanks for watching. I am Joyce Umitu.
Many thanks, Joyce. Let's take a break shortly. We're back.
Today or 4 days when my girls won't come visit and I need to come go expire.
Oh, my guys, they can't follow me watch this match. I must not fold the hand.
Babe, what's happening now? Sorry to disappoint you, but my subscription don't expire.
The match is not on my GoTV package.
Now your holla be that. I beg, give me your phone. Make I show you how you go take do it for my GoTV app for your phone.
Life is so much easier with my GoTV app. Make payments, clear error messages, change your package. You can also check your due dates and keep abreast of your payment history. The new My GoTV app is everything you need in one place. So what are you waiting for? Download My GoTV app now from Google Play or App Store to enjoy the easy life. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Have you not heard of coronavirus? Coronavirus? Yes, COVID-19. You know prevention is better than cure. Always have your hand sanitizer with you. Always remember to wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water. Yes. Whenever you want to sneeze or cough, you do it like this. Let's go. Fellow Nigerians, our culture encourages cleanliness. Let's ceremony.
This message is from NTA and NC.
Thanks for staying with us. Bayes University Abuja has complied with government's directive of shutting down schools at all levels in the face of COVID-19 spread in the country. The university is, however, adopting online technology to maintain interface between lecturers and students to keep the current semester running. Calvin Ehonuahe will tell us more.
Activities that require gathering of people are now being regulated, including educational institutions. Young people, especially students, have a high tendency to socialize, thereby making the school environment a high-risk area. In view of this, the management of Bayes University Abuja commended the federal government efforts at controlling the spread of COVID-19, but lectures and other interactions will continue outside the university premises. Through its strong ICT backbone, the use of lightweight bandwidth applications like Google Meet, Google Enterprise and cloud platforms shall be deployed to keep the semester on course.
Bayes University has a very strong IT backbone, and so it's an opportunity for us to get our students to enjoy those services without losing anything.
And if the situation persists till examination, the university says appropriate adjustments will be made to include assessment technology.
And the assessment, we also have a strategy. In the event this issue extends, we have to follow the process that is happening all over the world. And for me, I see this as an opportunity to think beyond what is happening, to think forward.
The university also urged staff and students to comply with all safety regulations put in place by government so that the country can overcome the current challenge posed by COVID-19. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
Let's talk agric. The federal government is intensifying efforts towards a successful takeoff of the multi-billion naira agro-processing zones in the country. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Sabo Nanono, said the agro-industrialization remains key to the country's economic growth. Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
The Special Agro-Processing Zone is a joint venture between the federal government, African Development Bank and some selected states. The South-South Center will be situated in Calabar, Cross River State capital. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Mohammed Sabanonono is in Cross River State to seek collaboration and support from the state on the establishment of Special Crop Processing Zone. The minister, who taught some of the agro-allied industries in the state, said the proposed agricultural processing centers, if established in the state, will reduce the high rate of unemployment, boost the economy, guarantee food security, and advance the level of trade and investment in the agricultural sector.
We talked to the governor about the super highways linking Calabar Port was part of the northern part of the country for evacuation of goods. This is a very good concept and is very, very important. And I, as Minister of Agriculture, I will pursue this to its.
Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade said his administration is working closely with the federal government as well as private investors in enhancing cocoa production and processing in the state.
This poultry slaughterhouse provides a demand coefficient for the massive utilization of soya beans and maize. So we have created a new value chain in a beneficiation process for young men and women to go into into maize cultivation, soya bean cultivation, because that's what we need to put into the feed mill to produce the feed that will feed the birds, that the birds will come here for slaughter and process as frozen chicken.
Cross River State has been ranked the second largest producer of cocoa in Nigeria. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
All right, let's take business news with Olanka Ojo.
Welcome to Business News. The Bankers Committee over the weekend in Lagos gave its full support to the policy measures amounting to more than 3.5 trillion naira earlier announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria in response to the economic impact of COVID-19 on Nigeria.
Many countries have or are planning to ban export of drugs and medical supplies from their countries. The committee has identified a few key local pharmaceutical companies who shall be granted naira and foreign exchange funding facilities.
To the energy sector, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has announced an increase in trading surplus of 5.28 billion naira in its December 2019 operations, compared to 3.95 billion naira posted in November last year. This translates to an increase of about 34%. Oil prices are not improving as Russia accuses Gulf states for fueling price crash. And that's it on this segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo.
And talking sports facilities locked down in Lagos as part of preventive measures against the spread of COVID-19. Olumide Guntola will give us this on Sports Update.
National Stadium Lagos is deserted as it's closed from every form of sporting activity.